Okay, good afternoon, all. Good morning, Karina. How are you? Okay, it is the 7th of October. It's a Monday, and we are well into autumn over here in the UK. It's getting pretty chilly now. At night's darker, night's drawn in. And we are literally spitting distance from Christmas. It's unbelievable how quick. I can't believe how quick this year's gone. So, what are we looking at here? Have we got a bigger channel? Have we got a break? I'd say it's safe to say we've probably got a break. Hey Tony, how you doing, buddy? Have you got sorted, mate? Have you got everything you need to? I wasn't sure whether you were after, because in your message, I thought you might have mentioned that number, which is part of Max, I think. But then when you said you got it from Max, you might, because I was sending you the details for that one, but I think you were after that one, weren't you? So as long as you're all sorted, that's the thing, really, when you got to reload it. See, to be honest with you, I've been using this. I built this computer about 3.5 years ago, and I've got everything on it. So I'm not mega computer savvy. I know enough to get by, but I could do with speaking to some computer geek just to find out how to save everything. So if anything happened to my computer or I decided to upgrade, that I could move everything over with minimal disruption. Because the trouble is, over a few years, you start to build up lots of bits of information on here. Started my channel from the close, so no break. Start my channel from the close. From the close. From the close. Up the channel. Up the channel. Started it from the close. You on about? I'm not sure what you mean there, Jay. Started my channel from the close, so no. Ah, so you mean no break? Got you. Well, I ummed and ahed about that, mate. I wasn't sure. Yeah, I wasn't sure about that, and then I noticed Thomas Wade has his like that, so I kind of left it. See, I personally think my way of looking at it is if I think it's at a break, I'll assume it has, because the thing is, if it's at a break and pushes up to a new high, it could reverse. So there's always a possibility we could come down here. Whereas if you put it like that and you get a second entry, you may be inclined to take the long. Do you know what I mean? So I think if I think it's at a break, I'd rather assume it has just for now. That way it'll stop me automatically getting into a long. But I know what you're saying. Another reason as well, if you look on the NQ, that fits nice. So if this keeps going up, so okay, market is open. We're getting a little bit of spluttering. In fact, you know what? We could even be in a what's it there now? There could even be a spiking channel. So not sure there. My only slight concern is I just have a feeling you could squeeze this and get that to fit. So this could come down. So the trouble is, until you get a little bit of actual volume, it's hard to tell exactly where you think things are going. So the trouble is, if we've had a break, 2 pushes up to a new high. Now, if you've got that channel there, this is the first break. You may be inclined to go long there. So I'm just not sure at the moment. The NQ says we're still in a channel, so it's tough on that, mate. Break, 2 pushes to a new high. Yeah, see, Thomas Wade's just changed his now, so you may be right. I think it's good to be aware of it, though, because let's put it like that. So if that's a break, 2 pushes to a new high, this could trap along and come down, which is why see what I'm saying? So I'm just going to put it back where I originally had it and leave it there for a second. because if you had a break 2 pushes to a new high, this could reverse. So if anybody took that, I mean, in all fairness, it's only really a first entry, so I think not many people will have done, but there will have been a few. But it triggered them, came straight down, stopped them out. So I just don't know. So I think you're safer if you've had a break, or you think you've had a break, to assume you have. Having said that, on that NQ, this still looks like it's fitting. I can't see where there's going to be a break, so this may push up. Also, though, whether this is a break out of this downtrend or an overshoot, and an overshoot, a lot of times we just get a steeper correction, so that may be a steeper correction, but who knows. But yeah, I think sometimes you're safer to, if you think you've had a break, just to leave it and just assume break 2 pushes and just avoid the next long, or at least be careful. So leg and a leg, let's see what happens here. Actually, there's a second entry long there, but that's an inside bar. It's weak as hell, that, to be fair. I wouldn't go long there. So there is a failure there. There'll be some stops there and some stops there, and then down here. So this thing could come down. So I'm just staying out of a trade here, just in case. It hasn't triggered there, that has. That hasn't, rather. So I do want to have a little chat about that video we had from John Skelton the other day, or a couple of days ago, just to see what people thought about it. I know Karina doesn't trust him. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Does he come over a bit shifty? Maybe. But I think it was more about the information that we got from it that I liked. Now that's interesting. Look, there's a failure there. Leg and a leg down. Would I take that? No. Because it's a bit congested. But look at that. We have a bullish bar up there. Triggers, comes down. It hasn't stopped it out yet. But I'm still staying out here. I'm assuming it's had a break, but there's a possibility. This may be the first break, 2 legs down and a push up. Look at that. I'll tell you what, if you took that when that came down, I bet you needed a fresh change of underwear. Failure triggers. Right into a triple test. Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? All of a sudden it triggers that. As soon as that starts to coming down, you think, there you go, there's a failure, and that's going to come down for another leg, and all of a sudden it hits the same level and pushes up. So there's clearly some bounce in there, so it does look like this might push up. Having said that, look at that big bearish bar now on that NQ. Now I'm wondering whether we are going to get a bit of a range here. We've bounced and bounced. Let's see how far this goes up. What are my thoughts on the video? I think they should have done so. The trouble is, when they implement these changes, so they implemented the rules, okay? They started policing the rules. Now, and I'll tell you one thing I will say, that was 100% directed at Alpine Trader, in my opinion. They were talking about a YouTuber or an influencer who was trading without a stop, who had loads of people following. He must have been, Alpine must have been watching that video thinking, oh shit, I'm in trouble. They're going to take away all my accounts. Yeah, it did. It really did. As soon as I heard that, I thought they're talking about Alpine. We did have that conversation, if you remember, that those changes seemed to come when he started advertising. He was making a lot of money and every man and his dog was looking at that one. And we kind of joked about it. But it does sound like that's might have been the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, in all fairness, answer me this, Brant. There's no way on God's earth you would put £2,500 of your own money into your own account and trade without a stop and be prepared to lose it all. It'd be complete madness. Because one losing trade, you would blow the whole account. But if it's only costing you $85 to have that £2,500 risk, what are you going to do? You know, then you may consider. And although he wasn't doing it slyly, they kind of allowed him to do it. So you kind of can't blame him. But the trouble is, when people start breaking all those rules like that, they must have it in their head that this can't carry on forever. And I think when they all of a sudden started policing the rules, loads of people didn't get paid and there was a backlash. But at the end of the day, if you're breaking the rules left, right and centre, you must be aware that it could stop at any time. So they can't keep paying out like that for people taking massive risks like that, because that's just not how you trade. They screwed themselves. Yeah. Do you know what? One quick thing I'll say is I remember hearing Alpine say he didn't want to tell anybody what he was doing for fear of Apex stopping him. Now, if he was making that money, what he should have done is slowly whittled into the background and stopped streaming it and tried to make the most of it. But he came out, and although he said he didn't really want to tell people, through general chit-chat on his channel, people soon found out what he was doing. And then, you know, Kellyanne came forward and made that video and said Alpine Traders' strategy debunked, and she started looking at it, and Volatility Trader, he started it, and there must have been 1,000 other people having a go at it. And Apex all of a sudden find out and think, hold on a minute, we got everyone trading here paying $85 and trading without a stop. It had to end, but I'm glad he talked about it, because, you know, about the probation, about this, about that. When you hear all these things happening and you get no word from the horse's mouth, people gossip and people make their own mind up. You need really, if you make these big changes that starts to rattle people, you need to come out and say why. And that's one thing they hadn't done up until now. So it certainly put my mind more at rest, because I was thinking about, crikey, is this going to come to a blinding end? What's going on here? But, you know, there you go. People just figured out. Yeah, exactly. He should have. I don't know why he should have. If that was me, I'd have just quietly gone into the background, tried to make as much as possible before they found out. But the trouble is, if you look at him now, he's struggling like hell. Because, you know, you can't trade like that. It's only a strategy that works on a prop firm that allow you to trade without stop. And obviously they've soon, you know, because you can't keep paying him massive amounts of money like that. If he's risking $85 and going, you know, all out. But, you know, there you go. Something's going to change. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm glad he came out and spoke about that. I think it should have been done a couple of months ago. It would have stopped a lot of the talk. Because if people don't know, they make their own minds up, won't they? And that's what I'm saying. He came out and said, you know, there's loads of gossip, loads of rumours and loads of social media. That's the world we live in now. You can't avoid social media. But what you do need to do is when, you know, words start to spread on social media, you need to come out and say, this is how it is, not how people are saying it. And that's just one thing. We've not really had any mention of it for months. So I thought it did Apex a world of good doing that. But my honest opinion, it does just seem to be people who are consistently breaking the rules that are going on to probation. So as long as you try, I mean, we trade Pats. It doesn't get any more simpler. We go, you know, we have a standard risk, standard points, and that's it, really. We don't DCA. We don't do anything like that. So, you know, from a Pat's point of view, our strategy is about as simple, really, as it gets. There's nothing too technical about it, you know. When it comes to sort of adding or you know, adding contracts or whatever, you know, we tend to just do it and that's it. But let's have a look. He also said the correct strategy is trade with the NQ1 contract for 10 ticks, $50 max strategy. Exactly, convert it, yeah. They got consistent traders having paid, not everyone is a scam. Yeah. I mean, the ironic thing is here, I watched a bit of Kellyanne's video, because obviously she gave him a load of grief. Now, I think she was a bit harsh on them, to be honest with you, because she said, I'm getting loads of people saying they haven't been paid. Well, they might not have been paid because they were breaking the rules. You can't come out and say a company's a scam without having proof, just because someone says, but the trouble is, if Apex clear things up a bit and become a really good, great prop firm, one of the sort of best again, she's burnt her bridges because they'll never let her back. Surely she'd be banned for life. I'm not saying she's done a bad thing, people talk, people do these things. How much hit people get? Yeah, they do, yeah. It's always the same, like car insurance goes up because of all the scams. So it's the honest people that pay the car insurance, and drive normally and sensibly that get, that cop the brunt of all the people that, decide to say, try and do these sort of cons where they, and it affects everyone then, unfortunately. Yeah. Apex, I'm interested. Yeah, they're going to do something different, but Yana then, can't they? I played only one mini. Recently took a trade 3 contracts by mistake. I closed it after 2 ticks, but I'm not sure if this... I won't worry about it, mate. I genuinely think they're just after people who are going for big windfalls. Every trader gets into a trade and makes a mistake and gets out of it. It's a fact of life. If you were doing it 3 or 4 times a day, then there's an issue, but I won't worry about it, mate. The trouble is, every time someone earns money, if they start messing around, they'll just lose more and more traders. So, you're just a normal trader. I'm a normal trader. Brant's a normal trader. Karina's a normal trader. We all do the normal stuff, but there are people out there who just try to get a bit lucky and build a bit of a massive cushion. In all real terms, you wouldn't be able to do that with your own money. So I'm not concerned anymore. I was getting a little bit. But, I've said from day one, I've never had an issue with Apex. They've never not paid me. But it was nice to hear. I mean, we all kind of knew what it was anyway. They were sort of victims of their own success. If you open a little coffee shop in your own town called Starbucks, you don't all of a sudden employ 3,000 people, do you? You just employ 3 or 4. And then all of a sudden, if there's massive queues down the road, you're kind of knackered. But yeah, it was nice to hear. I think they definitely needed it. I think it did Apex the world of good. It put people's minds at rest. So, and I like the sound of these updates or this software that won't wait till you get to ask for a payment before it denies you. If there's any issues with you breaking rules, something's going to say, you may get an email or a message saying rule broken, because we all do stuff and make mistakes. You can't stop someone's money, but it'd be nice to know that if people are breaking the rules, maybe that they don't know or they've made a mistake, just to get something just to let you know. But it does sound like people who are making regular money and they are still breaking the rules a bit, they're the ones that sound to me like they're on probation. Nice failure there. That one there. I didn't notice that broke above there. Yeah, you'd pretty much expect that to come down here, wouldn't you? It's not a massive risk. In fact, it's quite a small risk, though. So, yeah, 2-point risk. It's not often we get one of those. Oh, that's the thought. I haven't even checked whether my things are right.
Order submitted.
Okay, I think. Yeah, we're all good.
Order cancelled.
So, yeah, channel up with the break. 2 pushes to a new high. Leg and a leg. Just seems like we're ranging a bit. Yeah, exactly. I think if you go from 1 contract to 2 contracts to 3 contracts, something like that, I don't think it's a problem. I mean, most of the time, if you trade in 2 contracts, if all of a sudden, the ATR becomes massive, it's volatile, you may go down to 1 contract. If the bars are quite small, you may decide to go, as long as you're being sensible, I don't think you've got any worries. The trouble is, they have to set some rules, but they have to allow people, The thing is, if they say you can, what's the point in allowing people up to 10 contracts if they're going to start asking questions? They'd be better off saying, okay, for the first 2,000, we're going to cap it at 2 contracts. You know, when you get above 3,000, we'll allow you to go to 4. They'd be better off doing that. You can't say to someone, you can trade the full amount. And when they start doing that and changing, you know, you can't get on their back and say what you're doing. So I think what they need to do is when you go onto a sim is cap it at 2 contracts for the first 3,000, something like that. And that way there's no issues. They save themselves a lot of aggro. Big picture up, 2 legs back measured, new fill the gaps, 96. Yeah, so channel up. Yeah, well, look, I'm talking too much here. Channel break, 2 pushes to a new high, 2 attempts to go lower. There is a triple test there, but that's an inside bar, so you can't really say that. Like your account. Yeah, you can. Of course you can. We've all done it, haven't we? But at least it'll take the way, because like you said, was it you, Jens, said you opened a larger one. I've done it myself. If I've been trading 10 contracts on an evaluation, and for some reason it slipped my mind, and I've opened 10 contracts, you know, they could go, well, why did you change from that to that? So hopefully the more problems, I mean, they've been going 2 or 3 years. They're still relatively new, really. They've, you know, you get into these businesses, you're going to have teething problems. But hopefully the more issues they have, the more little niggles, the more they're going to make things a little bit easier and straightforward too. But if you give people the option to trade up to 10 contracts, if they do that and they change from 2 to 4, you can't moan them. You've given them the option to do it. You've said they can do it. Yeah, I agree. I think if you're a genuine now I'll take for instance Martin Keychak comes on here now and again, lovely bloke, always helped me, always supporting me, and he trades penguin style, and he trades 1 contract and he does 1 trade a day. You can look at his videos and that is all he has ever done. He's about as careful and about as straightforward as you can get. Loses it, he finishes it. Wins, he finishes it, and that is it. And he got asked for a video to make a video. Yes, they do. Absolutely, they do. They know that. They give people these cheaper evaluations because they know people take risks. If you're risking $100 or risking $10, what are you going to risk more? It's common sense, isn't it? But I like the way they did say they take full responsibility, because I think they should do. And all that silly stuff that went on in the Discord with people getting silly threats and all that was so petty. It shouldn't happen that, but they did apologise for that. They did say some people lost their jobs, and rightly so. You can't start making silly threats to people because they're putting an unhappy face emoji. That's just ridiculous. Is this going to trigger and push up as a failure? God, I'm so tempted to take this if it pushes up as a failure. We didn't quite get to the top, did we? Push up, 2 attempts to go lower, a 3rd attempt which failed. Maybe not. But hopefully now, one thing I like is we've had no issues with rhythmic. It is rangy, yeah. But there is a second entry long there. We've had a break, 2 pushes down to a new low. Try to go low once, try to go low twice. God, this is so tempting. It's massive though. Trouble is, channel down, 1 push higher, 2nd push higher. Yeah, I'm staying out. But it's nice and finally to speak up and give us a little bit of information as to why things were the way they were. Look at that. So channel break, 2 pushes to a new low. Trouble is, if they're not telling people what's going on, people will make their own mind up. So we've broken that low there and cleaned any possible liquidity out there. Wondering whether I may consider that as one channel now. Not sure about that. I like it because it's one channel on that NQ. Trouble is, people are always going to revenge trade. It's what happens when you panic and you're a relatively inexperienced trader. One, two, three. Are we going to get a triple test here? A leg and a leg. God, that's tempting.
Order submitted.
Channel break, 2 pushes to a new low. Bounce, bounce, bounce. No. But I think they needed to update
Order
people,
cancelled.
so I certainly feel a little bit more comfortable, so I'm guessing some others do as well. So we could channel break, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. So there'll be some liquidity here and here, so higher low here might not be a terrible option. But there is, it is possible we come down for another leg. We certainly could. There's a failure there. Oh, it's very tempting to do something like that. It certainly feels like we're working down, doesn't it? Trouble is, there's going to be liquidity there, and up here. So I think a short here might not be the best option. It may work, but I'm just unsure whether I think this is now going to come down for another leg. It has triggered there. If that comes up bullish, I might have a go at that. 2 legs down, big bullish bar, bearish bar, failure, which is... Let's have a look.
Order submitted.
Come on, get me. Come on.
Order
I
submitted.
jumped in a bit too much there, but I think we're okay. It's on before the bar closed, actually, but it's a bloody big risk. But there'll be liquidity up here. You can bet your bottom dollar. So at least it's triggered anyway. So I'm in here anyway. If it pushes up, I think we're okay. It is a higher low. We've got a big bullish bar, 2 legs down, so it's a leg and a leg. So I think this is okay. Well, this is starting to look a bit scary. So break new high, 2 attempts to go lower, push strong above the EMA. Very tempted to put that there. I know it's a bit more risk, but 2 legs down. But I'm tempted, if I'm risking more, to take more. Two legs down. Yeah, it could, Sean. I like the way it's coming, bounce there, maybe here. Yeah, I mean, it's a bigger risk. What I like, channel break, new high, 2 attempts to go lower, strong push above that EMA. That's what I like. It may take out that one, we may survive, we'll see. But I just like that strong push. This is almost like a penguin style. Channel break, new high, 2 attempts to push higher. We'll see. But if I lose this, that's me done for the day, I think. That's quite a big loss. That it's going to take me 2.5 wins to get that back, I think. Liquidity. If it can get up above there, I think we're okay. But it is kind of like a failed breakout as well, so we'll see. Put it this way, if that was a penguin style trade, a leg and a leg, that is probably where you'd have got in, and you stop at a bin here anyway, so we'll see. I've just got a message from Penguin, actually. If he's showing this. Yeah, he is. He's showing this trade. 2 legs down. Channel up, 2 legs down. Strong push above the EMA. Stop will be there. We'll soon see. We need to get above there, I think. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to put that there. I don't want to be too greedy. Channel break, new high. 2 attempts to go lower. Or should I just put it above it and then put me stop here just as it pushes? But you look, a ton of liquidity there, you'd like to think. So what I might do is leave it there. Once we push above there, if we do, just drop me stop here. So we need to get above. Just struggling to get above there a bit. Okay, I'm leaving it there. If it comes down again, it's clearly struggling. If it pushes from there, we're going to have a chance, I think. But I ain't risking any more. I think I've been a bit lucky there.
Order filled.
Okay. It's just not worth it. We've pushed up once, pushed up. It may work, but we've struggled. So it's just not worth it, I don't think. So I'm out for a tick anyway. I got a tick. It's probably going to work, but I just don't like the way we're starting. Look at this now, typical. You'd have wait another minute or two. That's frustrating. Well. Yeah, that would have given me, that would have been a $500 per account times 4. That would have been nice, that. Well, it's to be honest with you, we pushed up once. We got a leg and a leg. If we went up once, twice, it could come down. It was a massive risk. Yeah, good move. I usually do that when my trade is red for a while. Yeah, I mean it worked, but it could have quite easily not worked. So you know, on the upside, I made a tick. But if it did come down, it went up once. When we got the high low, it triggered. It came right back down. Now, channel. For a penguin style trade, I think it was good. I think he's marked it actually, and it did eventually work. But if I was trading penguin style at the moment, I wouldn't be risking 2 contracts. So, but it would have worked, and it would have worked nice. 500. So you don't move your stop. Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you get out of a trade, you guarantee you ain't going to lose nothing. How you doing, H, anyway? But penguins took that anyway. That much I know. You wouldn't have moved your stop. Yeah, exactly. The reason I moved it down here is because of the 2 legs. Sometimes it will take out weaker positions, but it was an extra 2-point risk. Was it an extra 2 point, which was more than I really wanted. But I thought it was worth it because of the leg and the leg. Now, from a penguin point of view, he'd have taken that. So, say a tick below there to a tick below there. It was an extra 2-point risk. It's not something I really should have done. Now, my accounts are quite low at the moment. If my accounts were a bit higher than that, I wouldn't have done that. No, you know. So that's kind of why I got out. I thought I'd been a bit luckier anyway, but leg and a leg. I think really, if that wasn't such a big bar and maybe with a bit of a tail, I may have taken that 2 legs down. So I think there's a good chance we're going to move up here now. Channel up, break new high, 2 attempts to go lower, up, up, up. This is probably, I think, going to start to move up, I think. That's just my gut feeling. Or I could be completely wrong. What I'd like, mind you, there's a lower high there. But we've had a breakout. Not only that, these breakouts usually fail, and it did eventually. So this could touch this and turn up. There could be a second entry long here to stop that out. God, it's very tempting to go for something like that. But let's move this down a little bit, I think. So there. Taylor's took that as a short, 16 ticks. My only slight concern with that is because we've had a breakout here. Often we'll get one the other side, which is why I didn't take that. So he's got his first take profit about here. I'm not so sure about this. I hope I'm wrong anyway. Let's have a look. Anybody else in it? Just one that I can see. So there is a failure there. Would I want to go long there in a second entry long? No. Is it going to work? Who knows? That would unnerve me, because we've had a break off and we'll have on that side. So failure there. Looks like it's working. If it gets below there, that'll give it that little bit of oomph. But I think it's done close to 2 points at the moment. I think maybe not quite. Oh, look at that. Bet you there'll be some shorts taken there, and it hasn't quite made 2 points. I think it has now. Yeah, it is. Taylor's had his 2-point profit, or his profit, 1 tick below that bar, and it hasn't triggered it yet. So that may... this is where the hell did he get in? Oh, he got in. Okay, okay, this may go against him here. So he had it 1 tick below there, and then this one opened. We know it never came down to that level, and that's starting to push back. So, surprised he didn't take his 2 points there. He went. Where did he go? About here. So it went down to 3.5 points. So, and the trouble is, with this here, it could come back up. This lower high here, it was quite a bit below here. So, I'd be surprised if this thing goes up. He's still in this. He may lose this. I mean, in all honesty, you'd normally expect that to go down there. The bit that made me not worry about taking a short there was this overshoot here. Or breakout, fail breakout. We really often get one the opposite end quite quickly after. There's going to be a ton of liquidity there because it didn't come down that far. It's going to take that out, surely. Oh, it's bounced off it. See, it went down 3.5 points, so you think the majority of people have been out there unless you're taking profit down here. Certainly, most of us would have done. So this might be that breakout we had here, that matching breakout. It may not, it may hold. That feeling of it coming close like that, as soon as it gets within spitting distance, you think you're done, don't you? It doesn't often hit the same place and come down and go in your favour. It rarely does that, in all honesty. Maybe one in 30 trades, 25, 30 trades, maybe not even that. I can't remember the last time it did that with me. Just once in a blue moon it does it, but as soon as it gets close to that, you know, I even think sometimes you're better off actually leaving it on there and saving yourself a tick. Because once it gets so far, you know, the chance of it hitting, it's got to be 85, it's got to be 90%, 95% chance. Just wondering, sometimes you're better off maybe saving a couple of ticks, putting it 1 tick below there and save yourself, you know, half a point. It's got to break above there, surely, isn't it? Unless we get a lower high second entry short here. There it goes. Yeah, a little bit of a pop there. So ticket. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So you may have had a few there, but there was definitely some traders in there. The way that popped up like that, quick 4 points. So we got a leg and a leg. Yeah. See, whenever we get that out the opposite side, I wouldn't take a trade, especially that far down. I'd want it out the top, really. So often when we have a break, as most of you guys know, we have a break out the bottom, we have the opposite at the top. That's why I didn't take that, to be honest with you. One, it was quite a big risk, but it did make 3.5 points, so you would have got paid out of it. But that's what was the risk. I think Taylor got on a little bit earlier. I think Taylor got in probably somewhere about there. So 3.5, 3.75 points, somewhere about there, I think. it certainly would have worked for 3 points, even a tick below, I think. Maybe just that would have been tight. You may not have got that. Well, you may not have done. But I think that the beauty of this, when it comes down to here and goes back, once it goes in your favour, that's when I normally jump in with a stop and just cover my arse just in case. So even if it didn't have hit me, after that pullback, when you get a pullback, it's almost like an extra lifeline, isn't it? So I'd have, once that started moving down, I think I'd have probably stopped to break even, I think. So leg and a leg is often how it works. So let's see if we get a lower high. And mind you, leg and a leg, it could come back in here. There's our breakout. But my guess is this is probably going to work out like that. This may be one of those little trade, that little setup I mark now and again. Nice little double channel. Bearish bar. Not only that, it's probably going to trap some shorts. See if it does go bearish. But that to me looks like a leg and a leg. A leg break new high. One attempt to go lower. Well, we actually took off from here, really. So possibly a second entry long, breakout, pullback, trap some shorts. I'd like that a bit lower. Let's see if we trigger some shorts. It could come back in there, but my guess is now we've had this and a bunch of times here, we're probably going to go higher. So I'm guessing about there, somewhere around about that. So I'd like to trigger that, because if we trigger that, there's bound to be some shorts in there. Leg and a leg, leg and a leg. I'm not saying it won't work. It has triggered it. It's still too risky for me to go it there. It's a million miles away, but I'd say the chance of that getting stopped out is pretty high. Not sure about that. So that did work. I wouldn't have taken it myself, really, because it's really within that little range. Not sure about that. Okay, a leg and a leg right to the tick. So, leg and a leg. All back to the EMA. Sorry, let's see if we trap any long failures here. But I think there's a good chance we come up here. Channel break, new low. Leg and a leg. Excuse me. Interesting. Now there's something. Is there something that fits? Shame that wasn't just for that. I mean, it doesn't seem right taking a load of that off, to be fair. So maybe we get a second entry. Maybe we get a higher low trapping that bearish bar. It could come down. It's quite a bearish bar. Let's see where it closes. I mean, we've had a leg and a leg, lower high, bearish bar. I mean, normally if you had a quick glance at this, you'd think this was coming down, but this to me, you know we get this. We push up, we go sideways, we push up. It's kind of like sort of a mirror image, really, isn't it? But that is a failure and a very big bearish one, but it hasn't closed below that EMA. It hasn't triggered yet either. But we have had a perfect measured leg from here to here, so it could come back. It could do. We've had very similar there. In fact, initially, I had that bar there. In fact, I had it there. And we had that bigger break and a smaller breaking in. Bigger break, smaller breaking in. That's triggered now. That's pushing up. Close below the EMA, did it? It's triggered that as, so if it pushes up and takes that out, you'd like to think it's going to go up. But the trouble is, I don't want to take a trade there because you've got bars back to back. And it could trigger you and come down and trap you. Just because it may push up and trigger that doesn't mean it's going to continue. It may come down and take you out. The trouble is, when it's stacked like that, even if you know you're going to be trapping traders, it could end up being a double trap. You may end up getting caught out yourself. So it'll be interesting to be a fly on the wall inside Alpine's stream today. I'm going to go and have a look at it later and see what the general consensus is, whether they believe it was him that they were talking about. I can't say how it wasn't. Thing is, he all of a sudden he had a massive following. He was making, what did he earn? 350 grand. So you get 3,000 people, 4,000 people watching you a day, knowing what you do. What they're going to do? They're going to try it themselves. Some of them are going to make money out of it. So if he's trading without a stop, which you wouldn't normally do, and they start trading without a stop, there's going to be a load of lucky people, and they're going to have to start paying money. Although he wasn't necessarily breaking the rules, it's just that they had to put a stop to it, really. Which is why I wish he'd have just faded into the background and started making money. The trouble is, if you start to make money, and you know in your own mind, and we do, he's spoken about it, he said he didn't want to show people what he's doing because he was worried about Apex. That, to me, is as soon as you said that, there's going to be no way back from that, because word's going to spread, or what's he doing, and everyone starts. So he should have just kept quiet and just carried on in the background. He'd have made a lot more money. But the trouble is, because he was sort of, everyone else found out what he was doing, he wasn't on his own then. There was probably another 1,000 people trying it. And then flags start to, red flags start to, okay, so there is a failure there. It is a big bearish bar, I gotta say. And you're going to have some longs in there. So if I had a quick glance at this, and this was at the bottom, that may have interested me. Having said that, price is stacked and it's been held by that AMA, so that for me is not as straightforward as I think it is, because at the moment we do seem like we're working up, push up, come back, push up, come back, push up, come back. So this could continue up. You kind of think it's going to be, I got that feel that this is a channel, bunch of times to go lower, couldn't push up. So I think, I wish it wouldn't do that. I think this thing is, well, look where it's coming now, yeah. I don't think going short here is the right idea, personally. I wouldn't go long just yet, because it's clearly stacked up. So this, to me, looks like it's working up. If it gets above there and takes out that for me, then I think we're going to make this other leg, or as a good attempt to it. There's going to be some liquidity up here. So it may turn into what we normally get most of the time now, is a range day. Oh. So I did pick myself up another eval earlier. It put my mind at rest, so I passed it as well. Took it on this. I forget what I did here. I did something. I think I went long there, didn't I? After that overshoot, I think I did. I passed it anyway. That one there. Yeah. Well, that was worth a go. It's put my mind at rest a little bit, so I thought I wanted to try and just get up to 5. Interesting. So if this finishes bullish, which I don't think it will there, the next bar might. Leg and a leg, maybe we get a big bullish bar here, may go for a higher low. I mean, it could come down here, but the fact that this is working up that line there tells me that I have to pay attention to that. Leg and a leg. Right there. It's very tempting, that. Oof, very tempting. And it's kind of a failed breakout, isn't it? I think I'm going to wait for a lower high there because it is stacked up. I think it's moving up, but it could just be that failure that's may take a bit of time to come down. It's not worked anyway, so maybe the next one will. Perfect measured leg. There's a chance that there could be a channel down here as well, so assuming we're automatically going up. Might be a mistake on my behalf, so at the moment I'm just sitting tight. I kind of expected a channel that sort of thickness going out, but this wider one, I'm not sure at the moment. Okay, excuse me just for a quick minute. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. Okay, NQ, possible second entry long. Leg and a leg. So let's see what happens here. There's a second entry long there. It is a little bit stacked up, a little bit choppy, so it could trigger you come down a bit lower, but be interesting just to see what happens on this NQ. Not taking anything, I mean, it looks bloody awful here in all fairness. So we've got a lower high here, and we've pushed down, and we've struggled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times on the underside of there. So that's interesting. We haven't broken above there after this big push down. So although I've got this channel up here, I am aware that it could just come down to the bottom. Trouble is, every time we've been down, it's been a little bit higher, which indicates we are moving up. But I am aware that this could be nothing. But I'm very tempted just to get rid of that. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Although it is touching all the right places. Let's just kill the colour. So it's an area of interest, but not necessarily. Channel break. Trouble is, still looking at a second entry long on the NQ, and this on the NQ is looking a little bit more solid. We've come down and touched that. Oh, mind you, look at that. All of a sudden, we just jumped straight over and started pushing down. So just at the moment, I think I'm going to get rid of that. Let's focus more on this. Okay. There's a channel. Let's put some proper stuff there. So, leg and a leg. Yeah, I think all it is really is we've just had a failed breakout, the same as we've had here, which I kind of thought we may. Channel break, new high. So if there is a channel up there, we could have 2 legs back, and this could continue up, but that's more. I certainly wouldn't trade that at the moment anyway. So, second entry long, triggered, highly likely going to get stopped out, I think. This one has as well, I think, has it? No, it hasn't. Not quite, or has it? No, I don't think it has. So, leg and a leg. We have made multiple attempts to push higher. Okay, I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break while it's just making its mind up. I'm not taking anything right in the middle of this anyway, so while there's not a lot happening, I'm just going to take a quick 3 to 5 minutes, make a cup of tea, and I'll be back. What have I missed? Okay, so it's still struggling to come down, isn't it? Channel break, 2 pushes to a new low. Let's have a look if we can make that any larger. Two attempts to push higher. My only issue is going short here. It is actually a second entry short. Trouble is, we've struggled to get down there multiple times, and that's what makes me a bit concerned. 2 legs down, 2 attempts to go up. So I'm just sitting tight. It's getting a bit choppy now. It's stacking up quite tight. But we have tried 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times to get down, and we've struggled. So a leg and a leg. There is 2 legs down there. Leg and leg. Not quite, but it's struggling to get down, so I'm certainly not looking for shorts just as yet. That's interesting. Still not thinking about a short here. I'm just going to sit tight at the minute. Could trigger that and push up, see if we could have a leg and a leg out the top here. This is tried multiple times to get down, and it's struggled. Couldn't get below that area. Let me just have a look at that again. Leg and a leg. Could push up. I mean, there may be a channel there. Touch, 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 which means 2 legs back from a break. Could push up. I'm not leaving it there because I'm not sure. I think it's sideways and choppy at the minute. So the NQ kind of looks like there's more chance of it working down than up. So Mac has it as a channel. That up there, does he really? Let's put it back then. I mean, it does fit. Well, it's a bit high there. Yeah, it's one of those odd ones, really, isn't it? You just don't know. But we are skipping up, which means if it is, we've got a leg and a higher low here. This thing seems to be going up a lot easier than it comes down. It's struggling to come down. But am I ready to just go long here? Not really. There is a little double bottom there, but it could trigger you come down. It's a tough one. It's not the easiest area, this. And if you look on the NQ, we are still coming down at the moment. It looks like it. So if this continues down, okay, so there is not. I wouldn't call that higher low. It's gone too far for a higher low. It's more like a first entry, that is. So if you put that there like that, there's a break. It's only a first entry. Trouble is, that doesn't look too bad either, or does it? Let's get rid of it at the moment. Leg and a leg. So this is interesting. Trouble is, if you, I do this sometimes. I try and work out what's going on, and then I take a trade, and sometimes it stings me. when in all honesty, it is very choppy, and trading anything at the moment adds that extra little bit of risk, more risk than normal. We got a leg and a leg, a leg and a leg up. We came back. We didn't get down to the bottom. We came up. We had 2 legs down. We only just got to that midline. So we're clearly working up a little bit. And we've had a leg and a leg. We've had a push up and a break. So you would think we would push up for another leg. If we push up for another leg and we break that, there'll be some liquidity there. You can almost guarantee that. And there as well. So if we get above there, it'll probably pump a little bit, just enough to get up there and get up to here. So I think the chance of it getting up to there after it breaks there is pretty good, but you need a setup here really, and that'd be your first target. So if you can get to there or above there, you can almost guarantee there's going to be some stops there. Possible second entry long here. Trouble is it does this sometimes and then bloody traps you. Mark is very clever at trapping traders. The algorithms that run these just can rip you apart if you're not careful, and it's just choppy enough to make it enough risk to probably stay out of it. We'll see if we get a failure here, see if we trap below there, but we know there's a ton of support there. You can see it right the way along, but we have got, I mean, we're not getting down here nowhere near, are we? You know, every time we're going up, we're still higher. Even after these 2 legs down, we're still higher than that. So, leg and a leg up. We've broken above there. We're about to break above there. So, leg and a leg, high, low. I had this channel, but it does seem like it's pushing up. At the moment, we seem to be struggling to go anywhere on the ES. So the trouble is, we could end up breaking this, making a new high before this thing's even moved higher than that red bar. So it seems to be struggling to do anything at the moment. We're not far off this measured leg as it is. But I can extend that a bit. Yeah, there's no setup there, unfortunately. So I would say that is quite likely. Break, new low. So there may be 2 lots in. Yeah, I'm just not sure about that. I think that channel's a bit too broad, so I'm just going to ditch it at the moment. Channel break, new low. Let's have a look. We're clearly just ranging at the moment, I think. It's safe to say. Let me just take this up a little bit now to, let's put it there, I think. And take this down to there. In fact, I'm going to put that back, I think. Just for now. So break out the bottom with a little tail, another breakout with another tail, and then back in. I think it's important to be aware of them. There's that many touches there, one there, pretty close on this. So channel break, 1, 2 pushes to a new low. So trouble is, I mean, we could, depending on how far this comes down, go look for a long gear or a higher low. Trouble is, how many times is it going to rattle between these 2 points before it either comes down or pushes up? It's very tempting to take that. Very tempting. I mean, channel break, leg, 2 pushes down. You got to, you know, there'll be some liquidity there. Should we get back to the EMA? I'd say lightly. But I'd rather a higher low, really. You know, it's cleared a bit of liquidity there. There'll be some below that after that leg. So whether this will come down, trip that one up and break below here, it may do, it may not do. I think that's a pretty strong bar off the bottom, so I think it's got half a chance. There'll be some liquidity there, so even if we get from here to up there, but I'm just sitting tight here. It's 13 ticks anyway, tick above, tick below. I'm not risking 15 ticks. See if we get a higher low. So try go 1, try go. There's a failure there. Let's see. If that triggers and gives us a higher low, then there'll be liquidity there, and then that might be worth a long there. Never been really good at picking tops and bottoms. I've never had a great deal of success with it. But after the channel, the break, 2 pushes to a new low, a higher low I think would be worth a go. Leg and a leg, 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 leg. Yeah, if there is a leg and leg, we could get quite a bit lower there, certainly down to this area. So I'm sitting tight here. It is stacking up a bit there as well. So I think that's a little vulnerable personally. With that leg and leg, that takes us down here below there. That's why you're always safer to take a higher low there. It's just a better confirmation we're going up. Take that one. Triggers you from not even a point, I don't think. And then head south. Okay, let's just check on this again. So that takes us down to there. So, could we go up or could we come down? I got no bloody idea. There could be something larger there, in all fairness. Yeah, I'm just not sure about this at the moment. That actually doesn't fit too bad, so there'd have been a second entry there. That may not have been a bad call, that, but... So, touch, touch, touch. So, leg and a leg would take us down to here. So there is a possibility this could come down. So second entry up here, maybe. Ooh, excuse me. Okay, so channel, 2 attempts to push up. So there's a possible second entry short, but we are in a range, so you don't know whether it's going to come up to the top. It's very tempting, I got to say. 9 ticks. Could trigger and come up to the top. There's 2 legs up. That lower, that leg finishes down here. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave this at the minute. That could trap you. Yeah, I reloaded this morning. Is anybody else different or are they same? Yeah, I loaded them. I got to the chart about 2 o'clock, something like that. 30 minutes before the main chart opened. Anybody else's bars look the same as mine, or shall I reload? Stream delay. It should be pretty quick. There shouldn't be much of a delay. No more than a couple of seconds. I've got super fast. Yours are the same. Okay. I got mega quick internet. I got gigabit, so I'm uploading and downloading about 970 megabits per second. So I have my YouTube settings on. Let's have a look. Lowest. Let's have a look. Ultra low latency. So you shouldn't really get anything bar a second or two. Normally about 10 seconds. No, it shouldn't be that much. I'll tell you what, the simplest way to work this out is put your hand on your keyboard and I'll say a number and then you press it and I'll time it. Okay, so I'll say a number from 1 to 10. Number 7. Five seconds. So yeah, it should only be a few seconds. So that was 5 seconds. So maybe take a second off for you to hit it and for it to come through. So it's 3 to 5 seconds, something like that. So it shouldn't be enough to make a difference. It used to be about 10, 15, 20 seconds, and then we got super quick internet. So it's pretty quick. Thank you, Karina. Right, what is going on here? It's not the easiest day to read today, so that 2 legs down. So I'm going to ditch that for the minute, because if it is a channel and we have a break, we're probably going to come down anyway from this area. And also for ranging, we'll probably come down from this area. So it's actually not the easiest day today. We're still ranging, and we've been ranging really since about, well, before the market opened. So the best part of 2 hours we've been going sideways. Leg and leg. No high or low there. If you took that one, trigger just stopped you out for a tick. So let's have a look. So we've got a leg and a leg up, leg and a leg down, leg and a leg down, leg and a leg up. So it is working in legs. But unfortunately, we are getting areas of chop as well where we're kind of looking to get in. Bouncing, rotating around VWAP, both the S and NQ. See, we are really just in a range, aren't we, at the moment? There's someone commented on Thomas Wade's what Max says about they won't let the chart come down before the elections, but they didn't say they won't stop it continuing sideways for the next month. In fact, I haven't looked on the daily or the 10,000 today, so this is pretty much a range, I'd say. Yeah, we're in a range at the moment, really, on that. Last few days we've been just coming sideways, really. So we've come down here. That bar is triggered, and it hasn't come down. We've got a big bullish bar which triggered, came down some. So, I mean, by what I'm seeing there, where is it likely to go? So I think there's a fair chance we come to the top here at the moment, but it's hard to say, really, isn't it? It has triggered that. It could come down some. We could have a leg and leg down, so it's not really telling us much at the moment. But we're up to the elections. The elections is in just less than a month, I think, just under 4 weeks. So you just don't know. We're flitting around all-time highs at the moment. We've been above it, below it, above it, below it. Oh, where is it? It's around about the 5.8, which I think I've got it somewhere. But so we're holding anyway at all-time highs, which is not too bad. But that keeps saying that they won't allow it to drop. Where's me blooming line? 8:30. Surely not. Is it really? Is that where all-time high is? 8:30. Just have a look at this again. Of course it is, yeah. Miles away, unlock. It's a bit higher than that. Oh no, yeah, it's around about 8:30. Yes, 8:30, that'll do me. So yeah, we are floating around it. Okay, channel with a break. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's the 10,000. Up, down, up, down. Channel with a break. 1, 2 attempts to go lower. I think there's, based on this, I would say there's more chance of going up. We'll see. Leg. Mind you, we could have another leg down to the bottom here, couldn't we? So a leg up, leg back. I think there's more chance of going up and hitting this before going down and hitting this, but that's just an educated guess. Channel break, no high, bearish bar. Okay, so if we get a lower high from here, I may have a go, we'll see. Definitely not the easiest of days today, that's for certain. The only one really, that one wouldn't take him because it's kind of in a range, in a channel still, but the only one I'd say that may have been of interest is that one, but look at the size of it. It's 4.25 points. It comes down by, well, you'd have got 2.25 out of it, depends where you got in. It's got to push through, and we go chopping around. So once that starts to go like that, after taking that, I'd probably inclined to get out somewhere, hopefully at break even, but it does eventually get down. I time from when my bar changed to when your bar changed, 3 seconds. Yeah, it's about right. I said about 4 seconds, didn't I? But then obviously he's got to, you know, if I say the number, he's got to look at his keyboard and press it, which is the best part of a second. So it's about 3 seconds, yeah. It's not enough to be a problem, that really. I think on normal latency, it's about 15 seconds, I think, when I originally started streaming nearly 2 years ago. But this quicker internet makes a big difference. So, big bearish bar there, break, push up. Now, is this going to work? Possibly. But I won't be taking it. So this is the highest it's been since that. So I think it's not a terrible bar to get back to the EMA. But at some point this is going to break either above here or below here. So I think the safer, well, it's a doji anyway now. The safer option is the lower high. But as I say, we don't have a lot of tight range days at the moment. I mean, this is working, 2, 4, 6, 8. It's about 9 points from top to bottom. We don't get a lot of this. We haven't had a lot of this type of small range for a while. None there, none that we've been swinging. A little bit there, but that was more 15, 18 points. But we haven't had a tight range for quite a while. So I generally are very careful about trading them because you ain't got as much room to play with. But it is readable. We've got a leg and a leg, leg and a leg, leg and a leg, leg and a leg. It is readable, 2 legs down, but it's also choppy and it tightens up at places, which makes it a little bit more scary. But I generally avoid tops and bottoms. If it's a lower high, I'll have a go at some circumstances, as long as we've had a couple of legs and a break. But I still think there's a chance we have a leg up sideways with another leg up. So I still think it's more likely going to push up than down. But that's just, call that an educated guess and nothing more really, just based on what I'm seeing. We often do that. Push up, go sideways, push up. So I think it's got more chance of hitting there than it has the lows of the day. But I don't know, the more times we get up here, you tend to think it would give up. Excuse me a sec. Sorry about that. Okay, so we got a break. Let's think. I'm tempted to short 57.96 after the measured move. 96. Oh, up here. See, if there's a lower high there, I think that'll stop that out, but I don't know how low it'll go. And I go for 3 points. Let's say it goes below there. There's barely a point to the EMA because this could go out. Channel break, new high. Channel break, new low. I mean, it could come right down. Having said that, this Just thinking about what this NQ is doing, because if NQ is looking bearish, then I tend to pay attention to what the NQ is doing, because if NQ is looking bearish, that might help my decision-making process. I mean, every time we get above here, this height, we do. Such a tough one, isn't it? It's not a massive risk either. It's only 8 ticks at the moment, but it could trigger you, bounce off here and rocket up. Yeah. Okay, I'm kind of glad it finished bullish. Well, so did I. So I'm looking at the previous one. I'm just not sure at the moment. See, if we look at this NQ, we've got a leg, 2 legs up and a leg down, breaking the lows for this channel. We've pushed up, and so far we're holding above that EMA, so this could come up for another leg. So I think going short at the moment is not an option. Let's have a look. Okay, we got some support there now. It is a bit of a range. It could break out and come back, but after we've had the channel with the break, new low, you'd think that the chance of us going up to this level again is higher than coming down. But you could make 3 attempts to go higher and drop. You can have liquidity below there and below there. So I certainly wouldn't dream of going long here. Way too far from that EMA at the moment. It's clearly rattling between these 2 levels. So it's a no-brainer at the moment. There's just no trades at the moment, unfortunately. We're stacking up once again. Could go up. It could go up or down here. Trouble is, if you go long, trigger you, come down, stop you out. You go short, triggers you, hits the line, turns up. It really could do anything at the moment. It's hard to read at the moment. Well, hard to make a decision, really, anyway. But I don't mind the odd day like this because it's a really good exercise in patience. So it could be a triple test there. We've made 3 attempts to go up on that NQ. Stops below there. There's going to be a few stops below there because the push up and price being held by the EMA, if it can get down there, mind you, it's just triggered that bearish bar. So if it gets above there, to me, it's going up. Certainly up here anyway, I think. So if it gets above that bar there, I'd say I'll be looking at that sort of area. Leg and a leg, leg and a leg. Let's see. I'd be surprised if it doesn't. So if this is going up above there, shorts aren't an option anyway. So we could end up having a channel like that. Another leg up, another leg up. It's a little bit tighter here now. We're above there now. Let's see if price holds. If it holds above there, it'll creep up, I think. Should move on the NQ and ES are both at the gap close here. Okay, so that's closed above there and taken that short out. So I think this will continue up a little bit now. Leg and a leg. Now we're out of here. Just no trade here. It's still stacked at this top. Nothing you can do, really. Not an easy day today. Okay. So that bearish bar there has been triggered. So there's a second entry short there, which has been triggered, and this is moving up. But it is quite far from that AMA, so I don't know whether I'd trust it. Lag and a leg. This is horrible. Okay, so little breakout, which was triggered, trapped some second entry shorts there to push up. So I've got this other leg up here, which if it gets to this, it'll take out any liquidity that may still be floating around here. Second entry short there. It's kind of a triple test failure. I mean, it's so risky taking that. It could trigger you and push up and stop you out. There could be another leg up here. It's hard to say, really. But it's just too dangerous. I think it may work, but it's just completely stacked. And when it gets like this, it can just be trappy as hell. See, just looking at this NQ, looking like it's pushing up for another leg. Now, if we get that, we're pretty much going to get the same here. So there's a failure here right at the bottom of this channel, trapping that long. Trapping the short. So, trouble is, it's 7 ticks now. It's at the midline and it ain't finished yet. We've still got another 1,000 ticks to go yet, so it could break above there before this bar's even closed. But then look at this big bullish bar out here, double trap there. So we got a short which triggered, stopped out, and the long triggered and stopped out. This market is a bugger for doing that. It really is. You think, okay, now we finally broke up this, let's go. You jump in here, triggers you, stops you out. I tell you what, I know when you're learning a trade, they say you can't take it personally. The market's not out to get you. I disagree. It's out to pick up weak positions. And as a newer trader, that's all you're going to be taking, weak positions. So it is. This market is targeted to take money off weaker traders. So how can you not take it personally sometimes? The best thing to do, though, when it's like this is just stay out of this. It's hard to read, and even if you can read it, when it goes sideways like that, it's just going to walk all over you. It really is. Makes me laugh sometimes, this does. It really does. I'm just wondering whether I can think about moving that up a bit now, maybe. Maybe not. Well, let's have a look. Maybe not. So now you've got a second entry long there. Oof. Now that actually fits kind of nicely there. Leg sideways, second entry long. If that was bullish, that doesn't look too bad. But we're in a range, so it could come down. So we've got a little range here with a breakout. Now let's see if it could trigger this bullish bar. Trouble is we've still got over 1,000 ticks. This could be right up here by the time. Let's see if we trigger this and come down. See, at the moment, it's very tempting to think we're going up, and I think we probably are. Whether we do now or not, it could come right back here first. Really big, strong, bullish bar, fail breakout. But look, we're nearly at the top already. It ain't finished yet. I'll be surprised if we're not above that by the time that bar finishes. Yeah, there's nothing you can do there, unfortunately. We're a tick off the top. There's still 400 ticks left. 400 ticks left. Nope, nothing we can do there. Have a look at this 10,000 tick chart. Oh, we just got 2 legs down. This is so hard going, this is. It's kind of comical. If you don't laugh, you're going to cry. So we're making multiple attempts to push higher, and we're struggling. We're also struggling to go down. So based on that conclusion, there's nothing we can do. Could go either way at any time. Certainly is. It's good exercise now and again. It is. Patience is a massive part of trading. So if you get a day like this and you haven't taken a trade, you've got to give yourself a pat on the back, haven't you? I don't have a problem, but I used to. I used to sit here for 2 or 3 hours and have the patience of a saint. In the last 5 minutes, I'd take a stupid trade and throw it all down the chimney, down the pan rather. But it didn't bother me now. I can do it. And it is a big part of it. You know, one thing I used to like is when you sit here all day and you don't take a trade, and Mac comes on with his video later and says it was a hard day. You got these are the days just to sit through it. And the skills trader is sitting through and not taking trades. And when you haven't taken a trade, it's kind of nice to hear that coming out of Mac's mouth. Just, you know, it just you know, solidifies that you've done your job. All we can do is sit here and wait for a setup. You can't, you know, we're not magicians. You know, we've got what we've got to play with. That's it. And we've got to make decisions based on what we're seeing, not what we think, you know, hope's going to happen. But it's good to have these days now and again, I think, because it does show you that, you know, it is a matter of just sitting here waiting. In a nutshell, really, trading is simple. When you can trade, all you got to do is sit patiently and wait for a setup. Take it, put it aside, and do the same thing again. Obviously, you know, it takes time to learn to read the charts and, you know, learn the strategy and that. But once you get there, you know, it's pretty straightforward, really. You know, if you read Mark Douglas's book, he said, when you can do it, trading's easy. It's, you know, when you think about it, in principle, it is easy, but you've got to sit here patiently and take a trade when we get one. But, you know, obviously, once you throw in all the emotions and that learning curve in the mix, it seems like a never-ending impossible task. And I think, you know, I've been doing this now, coming up. I've been trading from a complete beginner 4 years at Christmas, beginning of Christmas. And it's taken a lot of time to get to be able to sit here patient and not take a trade. And I'm still not there yet. I'm still learning. I like to think now I'm out of the gutter and I'm you know, I'm plateauing and I'm on flat ground, starting to head for the hills. But now and again, and I've had this a lot, sometimes just when you think you've got this thing nailed, sometimes it can turn around and sting you. And every single time you sit in front of these charts, you've got to have your A game on. You know, you make a mistake, you shut your eyes for a second and make a bad decision, it stings you. You know, so many times with other jobs, you go there, you have a bad day, there's no problems. You know, you're a carpenter, you cut a wrong angle, it's not a problem. You grab another piece of wood and start again. But with trading, you make a mistake and it can cost you. So you've kind of got to be on your A game. But I only trade for a maximum of 3 hours, and it's not a difficult task, I don't think. But initially, when you start, it does seem bloody impossible. And that's where so many people give up. It's not so much that it's so hard to do. It just takes time. It looks a lot hard. It's a lot harder than it looks. And people give up. You know, they say this 95% of traders make money. That's because about 85% of them just give up really easily. You know, not careful sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's not rocket science, this. It's not. Anybody can learn to trade, really. You don't need any particular skills, really. There are some people who are probably naturally good at it. You know, people who are focused and got masses of self-control. Obviously, that people like that are going to find it a lot easier, but it's not difficult to learn to do it. It just takes, you know, like lots of jobs. You know, you can't be a nurse or a doctor overnight. It takes it takes quite a few years. My cousin's a teacher. He only earns about $35,000 a year. He went to university for 3 years, went to college and did A-levels for 2 years. So it took him 5 years until he was really earning a proper wage. You know, and you're never going to hear anywhere near the amount of money a trader's going to be. But because there's such an emotional connection with this, that it kind of hurts so much and it's kind of hard. But what I try and say is, if you went and learnt a career, like my cousin, who's a teacher, he went to university for 3 years. Now, if you do a university, most of you guys who's ever been at university in the UK will know, I believe now it's a minimum of £10,000 per year. So if you did a 3-year degree course in the UK, it will cost you 30,000 minimum just in fees. That doesn't include all your stationery, your books, and all this. And then if the university is away from home, you know you've got to find accommodation, and it's a lot of money to get an education in the UK. It costs a fortune. So if I spend £25,000-30,000 over 3 or 4 years to learn to be a trader, if you just consider it as paying for an education, it doesn't hurt quite so much. You're never going to earn this sort of money without losing money first. It just doesn't happen. Traders don't all of a sudden jump into trading within a few months of making a fortune. It never happens. You know, some people say they're earning this, they're earning that. You know, it's not easy, and it does cost you money. It's not, you know, you can't go to college and university and learn to become a trader. It doesn't really work that way. Expectation Max says it's about easy money, but it's a more difficult way of making easy money. Yeah. I mean, look, if you think about it this way, you work 3 hours a day doing this. I wouldn't even consider that as part-time. You know what I mean? So it's great hours. You never have to leave your house. So if you think about it, it's almost, I've heard it described as the perfect business. What's the overheads? Once you've got a computer and an internet connection and you've got a pot of money to trade with, where's the overheads? There's no business, there's no insurances, there's no vehicles, there's no, you know, you don't need a building, you haven't got to pay staff. You know, you're working 3 hours a day in the comfort of your own home. You can work anywhere in the world and make yourself a ton of money. But obviously you've got to get through those initial few years to you know, learn to sort of engage that mindset. And that's where you can understand how many people give up. I've paid £25,000-30,000 over the last 3 years. And I'm getting close to getting it back. Not many people can put up with that. Very few people can, which is why there's such a big failure rate. So if you're struggling, don't be hard on yourself. It's not easy. But if you just stick at it, I watched an interview with Charlie Burton, who's a British trader. He's been a trader for over 20 years. And he was talking about, I think the subject was, is trading possible? And he was saying it's hard. But it's when you get to that stage where so many people up, if you just persist, then you start to get some success. You can't sit here every day after day, year after year, and not improve and learn how the charts work. And once it starts to go in your favour, you know, as well as learning that mindset, your skill level, we tend to focus so much on the mindset and how it affects us and how it makes us miserable. But you tend to forget every day as well, you're honing your skills. That you tend to put that to the back, but you tend to forget. I'm in Florida, might not be able to trade this week. Massive hurricane. Yeah, I have heard. We might be getting some of that, I think, Johnny. Any chance you could keep it? I think it's, what is it not? I think it's west coast of Florida. I think it's approaching, isn't it? I believe we may have the remnants of it, but it'll probably be a light breeze compared to how you guys have it. Yeah, you guys make sure you stay safe. I can't imagine what it must be like living in some parts of the US. We're lucky in the UK. We get nothing over here. We don't get earthquakes. We don't get tornadoes or hurricanes. We don't get poisonous snakes, poisonous spiders. We don't get sharks. Nothing's going to hurt you in this country. So we're quite lucky, really. Katrina, really. That's horrendous. I mean, I've seen videos of it. Unbelievable. It must be terrifying. You know, I'll tell you something. When I was younger, I wasn't afraid of nothing. Nothing fazed me. I had an attitude that nothing bothered me until I had a daughter. And then my whole life changed. You know, worrying about yourself's nothing, but when you got to worry about kids, that scared me when I become a father. It scared the shit out of me, I've got to say. So I can't imagine what it must be like living in some of these places when you got kids. It must be terrifying. God is with us all. Let's hope he is, mate. Let's hope he is. Apart from knife crime, yeah, we do get a bit. Mind you live down sort of London way, so you probably get more down there. We get rarely anything up here where I live. Small town in Shropshire, we get nothing. But compared to the US, obviously, you know, you've got the gun crime over there. You know, neighbours have a fallout over here. You may throw a few punches. On the rare occasion, a knife might get pulled, but obviously in the US, you know, with the sort of guns over there. You know, some of these arguments get out of hand, don't they? But I can't imagine what it must be like with these hurricanes and tornadoes and that when you got kids. It must be flipping terrifying. Yeah, you guys have had your fair share of shit over the last bunch of years, haven't you? What with 9/11 and stuff like that. Yeah, it can be a scary place, the world, sometimes. I forget how lucky we are over here, really. We get nothing, really. But the US, snakes, well, I think it's more snakes and spiders, isn't it, over there? But Australia, sharks, crocodiles and snakes. We get nothing over here, really. There's nothing really going to bite you, going to do you any harm in the UK. My wife bit me once, that hurt a bit, but nothing's really going to do you any harm over here. We did have the IRA, yeah, don't I know it, mate. My dad was killed by him in the early 1970s over in Ireland. But that's all kind of died down now, really, isn't it? Mind you, I mean, well, I say we, the older generation, and most of them are gone now, but they lived through the Blitz. I mean, that was a pretty terrifying time. And we had that for a long time over in the UK. So it's the older generation, which is why there's been a big stink at the moment that they've taken away the winter warming allowance for the older people, which I think is a flipping disgrace. It's the older generation. You need to, the most vulnerable, you got to look after them. You know, they fought wars for us people like that. Well, most of those are gone, but yeah, taking a few £100 can mean the difference. And the thing is about older people, they can't afford it. They will not put the heating on. The younger people, they haven't got the money, put the bloody heating on. That's the way I see it. But the older people won't. They'd rather freeze. Mm-hmm. What is going on here today? It's a pretty choppy picture. Mind you, it is readable. You can see the legs. There's just nothing in the way of a trade. I mean, look at that. Even if you wanted to get in there somewhere, apart from that one, which I wouldn't take, right into that midline. Look at this. It's just slowly inching. I suppose the beauty about having these, well, I say the beauty, well, the beauty about nowadays and age is there's a lot more information when they're expected nowadays, going back sort of 50 years or so. It wasn't so straightforward. At least now you have all this weather information and satellite data, so at least you've got some time to plan. Look at this. This NQ doesn't look much easier, does it? I hope it's not going to be like this constantly up to the elections. Mind you, after the elections, I think then we get some fireworks, depending on who gets in, whether it's Trump or what. I mean, it'll be good for crypto. That much I know. In fact, I spent some time in Northern Ireland. My stepdad was in the army as well. And I'm a bit older than a lot of you guys. We used to have a shop that you could hire. I remember when videos first came out, video players. There used to be like a chain called Radio Rentals in the UK where you could hire video recorders. And I remember it was about in the middle 80s. And we were living in Omagh in Northern Ireland at the time. And I went into the town centre. I was about 16, I think. And I hired a video player. And I think it was the first 2 or 3 Rocky films. And I hired that. And that was before computers, really. Everything was put on computers. And I hired that on the Saturday afternoon. And the Saturday evening, the IRA blew it up. Or had a bomb there, which was close to Radio Rentals. And Radio Rentals completely totaled. So I ended up getting a free video player in the first 2 or 3 Rocket movies. Crazy stuff. I love the 80s, I did. It was a great time to be a kid. Great life, great music. It was before mobile phones and computers. I think computers were sort of in, but not in the way they are now. Excuse me a sec. Okay, it's just coming down at the bottom here. I'd say kind of lightly. It's slowly shimmying down, isn't it? I was kind of hoping we may have a couple of legs back and a way in. Yeah, what can you do there? Nothing really. You could maybe say there's kind of like that's a bit of an odd looking thing, isn't it? Spike and channel, but this is proper choppy today. Mind you, I bet Mac finds about a dozen trades. Triangle setup. I definitely think we'll come down here. There's nowhere else for this thing to go, really. I can't see it. There's whether it'll break below here. I was kind of hoping we may get a couple of legs up. Two legs down, 2 legs up. So we got a channel break, new low, 2 pushes up. Try to go one struggle, one's failure. And there's a failure there. So I think there's a fair chance we come down here somewhere. So that'll work, I think. Yeah, comfortably. Yeah. Plenty of points there. So leg and a leg, something along the lines of that. If we can bounce off the bottom again, we may continue this all blooming day. If we can get down here somewhere, I'm kind of hoping this extends down to here a bit, because what I don't want to do is get in there, pushes down here, breaks before the lows, below these lows. So if I'm going to go for a trade, I'd rather get it as low as I can, or catch a higher low. So if we can get something decent here. Got to get down below here though, really, before I even consider a long. Okay, so I'm hoping we get a high-low here to trigger and then come down below this. Okay, we need to get down here, really. It could be fitting. I'm not so sure, though, because we come down and we kind of skirt across before we come down again. So, yeah. Thomas, well, I'll just stuck my head up. He's literally just posted that right this very second. He's opened that up as well. It's all right. I was looking for a break and then a long bit until we get a break there. So we need to get a break out of this, really, before I consider a long or a higher low. I'm pleased we've done that anyway. That's good. There is going to be still some below there. That leg and a leg may hold, may not. Would have been nice to just drop below there. So where is this thing going to go? Okay, it has dropped below there, so that's good. So the only issue I have is we're still in a channel at the moment, so I can't go long, but this is a possible overshoot. Why, that's gone deep, that. So you can consider that a failed breakout. The only issue is, if that's the channel you got, it is an overshoot, but I'm just going to be careful about this now. It could decide to push down from here or push up at some point, any time throughout the day. And as a 14 tick risk, is it going to work? Quite possibly. But after that overshoot, I'd rather a higher low, really, than just to take that, because I think that's risky. It has cleared out any liquidity, but there is liquidity down here and here after this big push down. So push up sideways, it could continue up. So there's probably going to be traders who may have bought here earlier on this morning or overnight, hoping for that to continue on up. So it has cleared out this, but there is more there. There'll be some there and possibly there and certainly down here. So so even if I take that down to there, it's still, I might leave. See, you could open that up a tiny touch to there and say it possibly fits. Sometimes if it's at a break, the channel sometimes can be irrelevant. It'll just turn. And we've had a channel going up there and it just turned. So if it gets up high enough or low enough, it may just turn. So that survived. High, low there. It's very tempting.
Order
Right at the
submitted.
bottom of this. Let's see how big it is. It's bloody massive. If I wouldn't take that short because it's too far from the EMA. If I took that short, I'd expect to get stopped out. So if this finishes bearish and triggers, I may have a long. How far has it gone up? Not enough, unfortunately. I go for 3 points. Let's have a look. It's only gone a point and a half at the moment, 1.75, so not a lot.
Order cancelled.
Okay, excuse me just for a second. Okay, I was kind of hoping that one would trigger. So it's going to likely make the 3 points there. I just wasn't sure about that. At some point it could go in a different direction than sideways, so it would have made 3 points that. I I just don't like the way it was inside that channel. You just never know. So we got 2 legs up, 2 attempts to go lower and up. So I think this is likely going to get here. If we can get a couple of legs down or a second entry long, that might be an option. But we're clearly just still ranging at the moment. We had a breakout there which failed. So we're clearly just going sideways, literally right from the open. The open was there, and we've been in a range ever since. What time is it now? Coming up. So it's coming up 3 hours. Come off the bottom. We've come back a bit. We've pushed up. We come back a bit, pushed up. So I expect a couple of legs back here or a second entry long to take us up. The trouble is you never know when things are going to start to go like that. So you get 2 legs down here and you jump in here, it triggers you and comes down for a second leg. But at the moment, in all fairness, it's clearly just ranging. There is a failure there that you can't take that, in my opinion. Could get something steeper pullback. I mean, you can argue. A couple of people mentioned that as an overshoot, so it could be. It kind of fits there. So, but what do you do? I think a long just there is risky. 1 into the midline. 2, you've got a tick to take that out. There's no guarantee you're going to get. Usually, you get a move like that, you get something else before we get a second leg up. For that just to continue up like that, I think the chance of having that is slim. So I think a trade like that is just risky. Not only that, you have got a few bars stacked, and you can see it's very flat across here. So that's risky in my opinion. It may work, but I'd expect a proper couple of legs really before we continue on up. That's not what you want to see. Triggers your buy tick and starts to come down. You can clearly see there's some support across there. Little range maybe. That's easy pickings there for to grab any liquidity if anybody bought that. You just never know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You just can't take that there, in my opinion. Move like that, you've got to have a couple of legs or a decent break, not just half of a bar and straight up. I think I'm going to have a little bit of music this Christmas. I'll still talk, but I'll just have a little bit of Christmas music in the background. Won't be too early, maybe November, beginning of November. No, we'll leave it till the last week or so, leading up to Christmas. But I'll still talk, but I'll have a little bit of quiet music in the background, just enough to annoy you. Can't believe Christmas has come around again. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay, excuse me just for a quick 2 minutes. Okay, sorry about that. Oh, nothing's. I think we've had one extra bar since I've been gone a couple of minutes. So slow, isn't it? We could get a couple of legs down here and then a push up. Couple of legs, a bit of a drop out here, and then up, I think. They'll break out of this. Oh, yeah. So, there's a lower high there. So, Marco's just put his chart up, actually. And he's marked that lower high. The only issue with that is it's still in this channel. But so is that higher low, which worked beautifully. Both of them did. He marked that one as well. So, it's just one of those things, isn't it? See, he's still got that there. He's got the bottom actually quite a bit higher. He's got the bottom there. Ooh, I don't know how I feel about that. Not sure. If the bottom is there, we may get a bounce off here in a bullish bar, so we'll see. So we're clearly rattling there. We've had a break there, which is pushed in, so we're bound to get a bit of a pullback here, so see what happens. That's the issue, is at any time, like I mentioned earlier, this could start to do this. You just don't know. Well, that's the trouble. It depends where you put this bottom. Should have left it where it was now. Oh, trouble is taking that one would have initially been a breakout because the range would have been like that or thereabouts. So that would have been a failed breakout. We did have a leg and a leg, which is why that probably wasn't a bad trade. And then we had that failure, which eventually worked. So it's definitely not the easiest of days today. So hard to trade today. that would have worked okay, and that would have worked okay. So maybe it's not such a terrible day. I mean, if you took that one, you consider it as a good day. It doesn't often work. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It's about 11 points. Less than 11 points most of the time, which it doesn't often do that nowadays. So maybe if you'd have took that one, or the failure, it worked. So look, what happened Friday? It wasn't quite as tight, was it? It's very tight, isn't it? More on the NQ, yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit opened up here a bit more, isn't it? See, I would say from what I'm seeing on the NQ, it's more likely to do this. Down, up, down, up, down, up. What do you think? Down here, you'd think. Let me just clear some of this up. Oh. We need to push up above that EMA, really. Trouble is, you could move this down, and if you move it down to about there, sure about that. Trouble is, at any point, this could happen. So if you go along thinking we're pushing up to the top for another leg, this could come down a leg. And at some point it could. We've been going along there with the breakout and the pullback, so at any time it could start to push up the top or the bottom. So you just got to be so careful. Let's have a look at the 10,000 tick, see if that's given us anything. Not really. If this bearish bar triggers, we could get a higher low back up here. It's hard to say. Leg down. I'm going to push up and sideways. Let's bring this down a little. Leg. There's this kind of break which we've had here. So trigger below that, push up. Could do anything. We could have a leg and a leg, or it may trigger below that bearish bar on the 10,000 and push up. If it does that, I'd expect another leg up here. Just keep that open for a bit. See, if we move this into place, it could sit on there. What does it look like on the rest of it? We haven't really touched it. Maybe once. So I think to rely on that, 10 points out of that bearish reversal on the NQ. Not there. Trouble is, you could put this in multiple places and it's only really touched twice. Well, once really. It's just with two bars closed and opened and pushed up and nothing else. So if you take that up to there, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, take it up a bit higher. I think it seemed to work best there. But then we've had a drop here, a drop here, a drop here. At some point, you've got to bring it down. So, temptation is to bring it down there, which may be too much. I don't think it visually looks that bad. My gut feeling is telling me this is coming down again. Leg. We're clearly struggling to get up. Second entry short stroke failure. Thank you very much to whoever's just used My Funded Futures link. Thank you. And also thank you to any. The thing is with My Funded Futures, if you get a commission, you get a little ping and a little email. You don't with Apex. But anybody who ever uses my code, it really does help me. So thank you very much. If you use it now or you've ever used it. It is really appreciated. That was me. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. It's nice when you get a little ping, because at least then you can thank someone who's literally just used it. Because you don't know sometimes. I mean, I did put a video out a couple of months ago just thanking people in general. I'll do another one actually, because it really does help. Thank you, Armanas. Good luck with that. I actually really like them. In fact, I think it was you, Tony, on it. Did you send me a message? You sent me a message the other day. It was by, thank you, Karina. My brother too, thank you. You're a bit crazy, you are. You make me laugh, actually. I love your the things you remember about the sayings you remember about the UK. Made me chuckle for the weekend. I keep forgetting you, Ben. You went to, was it Preston and Liverpool, if I remember rightly, wasn't it? And I love the little things that you remember. little bits of saying. I like the blah, blah, blah the other day. We do say blah, blah, blah quite a bit. Tony will say that one. I say it to my wife now and again. If she says something, I go, oh, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Manchester and Preston. I could have sworn you said you went to Liverpool. Manchester and Preston. I know it was Preston because we used to live just outside Preston a long time ago. And you're quite close to Blackpool, which is, well, I think it's popular with sort of stag do's and hen nights. So I've been to Blackpool for a few stag do's and had a few headaches. I got to say, I did do a bungee jump at Blackpool once. It wasn't massive, but it was about 175 foot off the beach. But after I've had a ton of beer, and I got to say, I felt really ill the rest of the day. I wouldn't advise that, not after you've had a drink. Blackpool, yeah, Blackpool. It's just outside. What is it, 10 miles from Preston? Something like that. It's not far, is it? It's not quite the US. It's not quite Florida, is it? But it's about the best we got. Mind you, the South Coast is nice. If you get down to the South Coast around Bournemouth and Brighton as well, it's kind of nice around the South Coast, and Dorset as well. They've got some nice places. Nicer white beaches. But even in the height of the summer, and Tony will tell you this as a diver, the water never really gets that warm. What a little diving I've done. I've dived in a dry suit even in the middle of summer. It's pretty cold in the UK. The water it doesn't get warm enough really for it to heat up. I'm going to say I got married out in Kenya, and I've never experienced warm water like that before in my life. It was like a warm bath. It was quite uncanny. You don't expect, and when you're used to living in the UK, you don't expect to put your foot into water that warm. Heated articles, yeah, it does. In fact, I did my open water dives at Stony Cove in, I think it's Leicester, isn't it? In January. When you're in, it's not so bad. When you get the water around your hood and in your gloves, you warm up pretty quick. But when you first get in, it's not pleasant. And the thing is, I mean, I suppose you are a little bit limited with the dry suits sometimes. They're that sort of big and bulky. In fact, I had one. A friend of mine got one. He was in the Royal Marines and he got me one. Great big thick black heavy duty thing. But it's not quite the same as going abroad and just going in a wetsuit. There's kind of a lot more freedom. I've not done a massive amount of diving, but I think I've done over 30 dives in the last 20 years. But usually just when I go abroad, I usually nip off myself and have a dive or two. But that kind of stopped for me when I became a dad, really, sort of 16 years ago. But yeah, it's not the temperature, really. It's not just that. It's cloudy. It can be as well. Visibility ain't fantastic in the UK. You go abroad, it's a different world. But in fact, I did a dive actually in Wales. I forget what it was. I went with a friend. It was about 10 or 12 years, 14 years ago. And it was off a pier in Wales somewhere. And we just went around the pier. And it was actually really clear. It's some of the most Chepstow. It wasn't where I went. Wales. Where was it? It's a small town, and there was just like a small pier. And we went in and around the pier just for sort of 20 minutes, and it was really clear, actually. But yeah, I think the last time I dived was, in Turkey, I think about 7 years ago. And that was a bit unusual as well. Clear and no fish. That's what I remember about Turkey, actually. I'd say what I remember about Turkey, which stuck out. You know boulders that you get on the beach, about the size of an egg, bit bigger? There was boulders like that under the water where I dived, and they were about like 10 foot wide, these things. I've never seen perfectly round boulders like that big before. It was weird. We did a dive on a bit of a shelf, actually. There was a bit of a steep shelf. I remember, though, I think there was a couple of those sea slugs, an octopus. We didn't see a great deal, really, a few little fish, but the first time I ever dived was in Kenya. I just did a try dive, and that was a different world out there. I think there was a massive grouper that was near us at the time, and that thing was a bit, well, big, from what I remember of it. I just did a try dive. If you're going to do something like that, it's always nicer to do it in the UK, abroad. There is a failure there. Is there going to be some stops below there? Trouble is, this could push up. Channel up, 2 legs back. This could go up, it could do anything. This could come down, stop out that, or it could push up, stop out that and that. I just have a feeling at some point this is going to break out of this. I mean, well, whether it's permanently or at least for a while. 2 legs back. This, to me, I think is more. Let's see if this fits at all. Yeah, I mean, leg and a leg, high or low. This could go up, or it could trigger you and come down. So, this is the lowest we've been. So we broke out and pulled in. We've got up to the midline, and we've had 2 legs. So, I think. See, on the NQ, we've had a leg and a leg down. It may still go up, but I think really. I don't want to sit here for 3.5 hours and end up taking a poor trade, because it just is kind of counterproductive, really. So there's nothing you can do here, really. We've been in a range most of the day. We had a breakout, pull back in. We only got up to the midline and 2 legs back. So this could either go up or it could come down. It's a toss of a coin here for me, really. Looking on that 10,000 tick chart, we've kind of had we've got a sort of a bullish bar which is kind of forming, so it could go up, but it could trigger you, bounce off the bottom of this line and have the remnants of that second leg. So unfortunately, it's going to be one of those days, I think. But this, as we've only pushed into the midline and come down, I'd say there's more chance of this coming down for another leg. So if this pushes up, it may trigger some longs and give us a second entry short. And I think that second entry short would be more reliable than the long, but it is. You're assuming then we are going to come down. It's just posted that as well. Second entry short, possibly. But that, in my opinion, would be a little bit risky. What I will say is you can have long stops there and there as well, high or low. So this might not be a bad trade, actually. Let's get an order ready just in case. Submitted. Second entry short, stops there, definitely there. If we come down for another leg, let's see how this forms. 2 legs back, higher, low, triggered. Second entry short off the underside of this. If it hits that, it may hit that. Depends where you've got this as a bottom. If you tighten it to there, it's bouncing off there, but there's no touch anywhere. Now that is tempting, but it's risky. Now there is a second entry short on the NQ, so it is a little bit stacked up here, so it may work and it may not. I'm holding on tight here, I am. I'm not sure about this. Yeah, tough one. It is only 8 ticks. I would prefer that a little bit closer to there. There's a bit of a stem there. This could trigger you and push up. So I'm just sitting tight at the minute. It's triggered and it don't seem to be going anywhere. So it is a little bit congested here, so that makes it a bit more risky. You're in IA, you think it looks good. So a double top, yeah, is a little double top. I just think that's a bit risky. Going for 6 ticks, yeah. If you get below there, you'll get those. It's a little bit sideways here. And on the NQ as well, it's the same. So I think that's a bit risky. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you, Kev, so I'm not going to jinx you anymore, and I'll keep my mouth shut, mates. You're okay with losses. Good on you, mate. My gut, I've got it down to 2 now, 2 losses, if you're talking to me, bud. I'm okay as long as I wait for a trade that I believe to be. So that, to me, is a little bit risky. Now, if I took it... 6 o'clock, isn't it? Is it 6 or 6:30?
Order canceled.
I think it's 6:30. My gut is my own head. Has it really? It may hold. There's going to be 2 lots of liquidity there, I'm guessing. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you, mate. I think it's 6. Is it R2, R3, R4, R5? Yeah, it is 6 o'clock. If I'm in a trade, it's no problem, but it just won't let me get into another one. Tick above there, it's fine. 1 contract, okay. 1 contract, 1 account. It's just this little bit was concerning me. That to me is a little bit too far away. It's already kind of moved. That is a little bit concerning for me. box. Okay, yeah, it's not terrible, is it? It might be okay. Come on, get it. I hate it when it does that. Comes right up to you. It doesn't often do it, but this is the second time I've mentioned it today. You're still in. The thing is, we have been in this range. We've had a breakout, and we've had another breakout. Now, the trouble is that I've mentioned this a couple of times. You never know when it's going to decide to actually move in another direction. So that's a failure there. And there is shorts in there. Well, we know there is. So it could push up. It could also trigger and close below that line. So it's just a little bit risky at the moment. It's been one of those days today, so what I don't want to do is sit here for 3 hours and end up... In fact, it's 6 o'clock now. Let me just open a trade and see if it'll let me buy. No, it won't let me. No, it's open one trade. Let's close that. Yeah, it won't let me. That's still showing, it shouldn't do. Let me just close it. Disconnect. Yeah, that's closed, I think. Yeah, that's done it. Never mind, mate. I think, yeah, it's not nice, is it, when you're in that? I mean, it is a second entry short. This does seem to be coming down. But at the moment, see, the overall day is like this. So we had a breakout which pushed in. We had another breakout. You just don't know when it's going to decide to continue down and have another leg. And look at that. That would be sod's law, that would. 2 legs up. It stops you out, triggers the failure, comes down. Yeah, it is one of those things, isn't it? But I'm done today anyway, so my time has run out. But yeah, not an easy day today. Really choppy day. It is moving. You can count the legs, but there's just not been a lot in the way of setups. So it's just unfortunate. I'm kind of looking forward to see how many tens of hundreds Mac will end up marking. But yeah, I think if the risk's small, it doesn't. It does make perfect sense, isn't it? The more you risk, the harder it is. The more uncomfortable it is. You know, if we were risking $2 or $5 on this, you wouldn't bat an eyelid if you are lost, and that kind of removes all the, all the stress from it. But the trouble is, obviously, the lower you go, the less the risk, you're more chance of taking a trade. So I like to find somewhere where it gives me just enough pressure to be a little bit more serious. And that way I find when I went down to one contract, I took more setups, more trades, and lost more. So I kind of like the 2 contracts. It just applies enough pressure. I was given 250, now 100 something. It's still green. Yeah. So there you go. So I am done. It could still come down. I don't know. It's not an easy day today. So that is me done for today. So let's just save my chart image. That one on the NQ. And then I am off. There is a slight possibility I will put my stream out, but I'm having a new induction hob fitted tomorrow. I'm not sure what time they're going to turn up. I get an email in the morning, or a message in the morning, so I may be stuck. But I'll do my best. I obviously want to trade, but we'll have to see. So I'll leave you guys to it. So I appreciate the conversation and the support as always. But I see you guys as my work colleagues. I talk to a lot of you outside, and I've said this many times. Anytime you want to message me for a chat, question, whatever, I chat to Karina now and again. I chat to Tony now and again. I chat to a bunch of it. Who else do I chat to now and again? I chat to Sean quite regularly. Jay occasionally. Jan as well. So anytime you guys want to just message me, private message me or email me, whatever, for a chat, anytime, I'm happy. I always answer if I'm there. And I'm, you know me, I'm happy to talk shop. But if you got something on your mind or whatever, you want to vent to something, you know, drop us a message anytime. You guys are my work colleagues. I get to know a lot of you now. And I enjoy time together. It just makes this business so less boring when you're by yourself, because most of us are by ourselves, stuck in a room. So it is nice to have a bit of company and just to sort of, you know, shoot the shit, swap some ideas and what have you. So if you're carrying on trading, best of luck. I hope we finally get out of this at some point. I believe we may do at some point, but failing that, I'll be back tomorrow. Fingers crossed. I am having this thing fitted, but if I can get in at some point, I will do. So I'll leave you to it. Have a great evening. Stay safe, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye for now.